my instructions. Keep it clean, touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
Hosted by Zay, Bonez, and Trevor.
Good morning, good morning.
Yo, happy
Welcome.
football day.
Happy Football Sunday. Go Steelers.
Go Bucks.
Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk MMA. This is Zay along with Bonez. Here to review last night's historic pay-per-view event, UFC 293 from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah,
Well-
it was definitely a historic card, and just like the last time it was in Australia, something epic happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember Friday I was saying how I wasn't too excited for the card, but again, this is why you watch anyway, because they over-delivered. I feel like the UFC has been pitching straight shutouts lately, especially when it comes to their pay-per-views. On paper, this didn't look like it was going to be that exciting, but it was action-packed from beginning to end. What you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely exceeded expectations. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
They had like 18,000 plus in attendance. The gate was over $10 million, which was a record in indoor arena history in that continent. So they made a lot of money last night. Performance of the night went to Sean Strickland and Justin Taffa. And the fight of the night was Kape and Dos Santos. So
Yeah, that was a hell of a fight.
if you want to pull up the card, all those guys involved in those fights got an extra 50 G's. So if you want to pull up the card, we'll get right into it. First fight of the night, Kevin Youse versus Kiefer Crosby. It's not really much to break down in this fight.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit of a Kiefer Crosby fan because he trained with my boy McGregor, and he's been his training partner for the past couple of years. Even though this wasn't a lot of hype behind this fight, it was very interesting to see how both of these guys would translate to their UFC debut. Kevin Youse, he looked pretty good. He actually looked pretty sharp too. He ended up catching him with a nice submission towards the end of the round, and he looked like he can be pretty good in the division.
Yeah, it was quick rear naked choke late in the first round. I think it was like 11 seconds left in the round, something like that. Yeah, it was a rear naked choke. Though one thing that stood out to me about this was when he took Kiefer Crosby down. Kiefer tried to take him down with like a judo throw, and he kind of reversed it, swept his leg from up under him. Kiefer Crosby posted on all fours, and while he was on all fours, Juice wrapped in the rear naked choke, and I knew it was over because he didn't attack the hands in defense. Kiefer Crosby, he was still on all fours, so he got it sunk in before he would even attack the hands. So I felt like that was a wrap, and that was pretty much that. Anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, I was gonna say to your point, when somebody is getting you in that kind of choke, as soon as you're trying to sink it in up under your chin, you got to defend that immediately. And in return, he was trying to defend the takedown still, and still posted on all fours. So it was a pretty quick tap.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the nerves or just the pressure of being under the UFC lights for the first time, but I felt like it was a pretty that was like a kind of rookie mistake. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm not in there. I feel like he's definitely better than what he showed.
Yeah, I agree.
So next up, a featherweight bout. Shane Young versus Gabriel Miranda.
Shane Young was the first fighter from I think he was the second fighter from City Kickboxing, because Duce was from City Kickboxing. But all right, Shane Young, he missed weight by, I believe, 6 pounds, which is already kind of I don't know, he just kind of put a black eye on him or whatever, as far as like his fight. Missing weight by 6 pounds, that's a lot. If you miss weight by half a pound or a pound, it can, you shouldn't miss weight at all, but that can be kind of excusable. But he missed weight by 6 pounds, that's a lot. His performance showed too, because, man, he got submitted real quick too. He kind of looked, I don't want to say lost, but he definitely looked like, I don't know if it's a testament to him or if it's just Gabriel Miranda was just on fire, but he looked real good in this fight. And I would definitely say Shane Young got to be disappointed in it. So
yeah, he got submitted 59 seconds into the fight. Another rear naked choke. It was yeah, there's no excuse for missing weight by that much. He did have to forfeit 30% of his purse, but it wasn't really much to break down in this fight because it wasn't even a minute. But did you know that when you forfeit your purse, the other fighter actually only gets 10% and the rest goes to the commission?
what?
Yeah, I found that out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It should be the other way around. Why are they getting extra money?
Just because you know how it is, the rich get richer.
Yeah.
It's not right, but it is what it is. But yeah, at this point, I was like, all right, it might be something to this card because that's 2 fights, 2 rear naked chokes in the first round. All right, people coming out to finish. So I was already pretty hyped about that. Moving right along to the next fight, we had Mike Blood Diamond versus Charles Radke. And this was kind of crazy. What you thought about this fight?
Man, this fight was a little disappointing for me because, Blood Diamond, he came in to the UFC 3-0. He got over 50 kickboxing fights. So we was kind of looking forward to seeing what he can do in the octagon. He lost 2 fights, and I believe this was his 3rd straight loss, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
Yeah, and from the beginning of the fight, his stance and the way he moves is just kind of awkward, and that's okay if it works and he's getting wins, but he's not. So I don't know, maybe he should do some adjustments or something like that. He's another City Kickboxing fighter. Radke, from the get-go, he just basically clinched him and had him up against the cage. And this is very kind of controversial for me because the commentators are saying that he possibly won round 1. But to me, if you're just clinching and you're not doing anything at all, like he really wasn't advancing his position, especially in round 1, I don't know if I can give that fighter the fight, even though, yeah, technically they are controlling the fight, but it's like you're not doing anything at all. And then, in the first round, when he did stand up a little bit, he was getting pieced up. But towards the second round and third round, Blood Diamond just started kind of losing his gas tank a little bit. I would say in the second round, he kind of got it back a little bit in the third round. But and even Radke was catching him too in the stand up a little bit, I believe, in the second. Yeah, so he won, I would say, a uneventful decision. You know, he had like a little memorable post fight speech. But I don't know how many fights Blood Diamond signed, but if this was his last fight on his contract, I don't see how they can re-sign him at all.
Well, honestly, even if it wasn't his last fight, I expect him to get cut after this. This fight was pretty sloppy in my opinion. Both guys kind of displayed a low level of fight IQ, especially Blood Diamond. I don't know. I kind of agree with you, but I disagree with you at the same time. I feel like we just kind of had this debate on a few episodes ago. And I was on the side that you're on and vice versa. Because, yeah, Radke controlled him in the first round. But, I mean, Blood Diamond was on the defensive. He was getting controlled. I'm sure he didn't want to be up against the cage. So why did he let him? Yeah, I agree with you, Trevor. Blood Diamond is a great name, and it's crazy because just the name alone make you want him to succeed, especially because he's from over there. But I don't know. It's like he came to MMA and he kind of fell off a little bit. He was pretty good in kickboxing. His movement was looking kind of crazy. Like he was looking stiff. And the reason why I say I felt like both fighters displayed a low fight IQ is because it was obvious that, okay, Radke wanted to grapple and Blood Diamond wanted to strike. Diamond did open up. I would give him the first round because I feel like he did more damage in the first round. But it was obvious that Radke wanted to grapple and he was trying to get off of the cage. There were a few times where he struggled to get off the cage. I will say this, his takedown defense is much improved. I'll give him that because usually he get grappled up against the fence and taken down, and it's a wrap from there. But he couldn't get Radke couldn't get the takedown, and Blood Diamond couldn't get off the fence. When he finally did get off the fence, at least 2 or 3 times, I saw him initiate the clinch. And it's like, why would you take the fight to the place where you have the least advantage and the place you don't want to be? Because every time he initiated the clinch, he would go for the the little judo trip where you pull the body one way and then force it back the other way and sweep the leg.
Yeah.
Position. He did that like 2 or 3 times, and every single time it got reversed. And when he finally broke away, he would initiate another clinch. Second round, they stayed open in distance, and Radke started piecing them up. He had a left hook that could not miss. Radke also got hit with 3 low blows. Well, 4 low blows. The referee only saw 3 of them.
Yeah.
So Blood Diamond ended up getting the point taken away. Blood Diamond came back and sort of kind of won the third round, but he got the point taken away, so it didn't even matter. And then for Radke, I feel like once he started landing that left hook at will, he would still
take him down.
Go for the clinch. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was kind of confusing. The fans were really, really booing Radke. So after the fight, he kind of turned on him, had a few choice words that I won't say on here, but he called them names that rhymed with maggot and pretty much challenged anybody in the audience to come get some. I thought it was kind of cool, actually.
It definitely made a name for itself. Yeah, one thing too that to touch on your point, I noticed. I think it was like towards the second or I believe it was the second round. He would catch Blood Diamond with like a left hook and rock him, and then go for the clinch and take him down. And I feel like maybe if he would have put his foot on the gas pedal a little bit, he possibly could have finished him because he did rock him and had his legs all wobbly and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one.
And Diamond did look gassed in the second round, but I feel like he got a second win in the third round and started coming back. But then the clinch work was just too much for him. And that was it for the early prelims. So 3 fights, 1 so-so fight. The other 2 were pretty exciting finishes. And then we moved on to the lightweight bout for the regular prelims. We had Nasrat Haq Perez versus Landon Quinones. And
Man,
Landon Quinones making his UFC debut after coming off of the Ultimate Fighter for Team McGregor. This was a hell of a fight.
yeah, he from down here too. Landon Quinones from Sunrise.
Yeah.
But I guess earlier in the day, well, over there it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. So early in the morning over there on Sunday morning to them, Nasrat had news that an earthquake hit his country in Morocco. So he was fighting with a pretty heavy heart in this fight, and I feel like that kind of added to him getting the victory because he was getting his leg ate up and it was getting tore to shreds. Um, and it was like red and had like a knot on it and everything like that. But it's like every time he would, eat a leg shot, he would come forward like a 1-2 or throw a hook or something like that. And it just seemed like he had the more powerful shots, in my
He
opinion.
definitely did. He definitely did.
Because you would see like Quinones, he might hit him with like a 1-2 straight or something like that, but then he'll come back with a hook, Nasrat, and it'll just like back him up. One thing that I did like though that Quinones did was whenever he was up against the cage, he would notice and he would kind of like circle out and try to get his back from up against the cage. I thought that was a pretty cool technique. I believe he's 7-1-1, so this loss is only gonna make him better because Nasrat, he's a UFC vet, been around for a little bit. I believe he was ranked before too at one point. So this is
like
definitely
a little Kelvin Gastelum.
yeah, for real. This is definitely going to be a big learning curve for Landon. I think he's going to come back stronger. But this was, in my opinion, before the fight was over, the whole fight card, this was fight of the night by far.
Yeah, originally I thought this was fight of the night too. Shout out to Landon Quinones. I don't know. I feel like tonight was a testament of how each generation of fighter is better because you've seen some guys debuting against some pretty good talent and they held their own. You get what I'm saying? Whereas there was once a time where I would say, "Oh, this is his debut. Why is he fighting this guy? Like they throwing him to the wolves." And that was what it would be. But nowadays, it's like these guys come in making their debut, and you can tell that they're UFC ready. But this was a really good fight. Perez had the power, and he was a little faster. Quinones had really good footwork though, and he had good head movement too. I feel like the strikes were getting kind of even. First round, Perez won, but Quinones kept attacking that leg. In the second round, I thought Perez might have. I thought he was on the way to a loss, considering the way that leg was. But he had to switch stances, and I like the adjustments he made. He would go southpaw to hide that right leg, and then once he throws a punch, he would come in, like in his attack, and go back to orthodox. And then once he exited out, he would exit back out into southpaw to like hide that leg again.
It's like he's switching stances mid punch in a way.
Yeah. In the middle of the combination, just I guess he felt more offensively sound from the orthodox stance, but didn't want to get that leg chopped no more. And you can tell like the way he fought through it. And then Quinones, he started getting gassed in the second round, and I feel like as he got gassed, his power was depleted. And that led for Perez being able to kind of put it on sometimes when he got him towards the cage. But some of them shots Quinones was getting hit with, I was like, damn, how's this guy not dropping? And that I think one of the biggest differences in this fight too was the body work too, because Perez went to the body a lot.
Yeah, this is definitely an entertaining fight. I'm interested to see where Quinones is going to go from here.
Yeah, if I have time, I'll probably watch that one again before 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Next up, lightweight division. Another entertaining fight. Jamie Malarkey versus the seasoned vet, John Makdessi.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, I definitely slept on this fight because I'm not a huge fan of either fighter. Makdessi hasn't had a finish since 2013, and I think that finish was the spinning back fist. And speaking of spinning back fist, damn boy, he caught Malarkey with a spinning back fist. I believe it was in the second, later in the second or earlier in the third.
It was late
And
second.
late second, and it definitely like shattered his nose because in real time it looked like he got his hand up to block it, and maybe he did, take some of the shot off or whatever, but it definitely connected because once it hit him, you just seen blood everywhere.
Hey, did you remember what Malarkey answered back with?
No.
A flying knee that connected.
Oh, okay, yeah, but
that was an exciting little sequence.
yeah, I would say the first round, Malarkey, he had good footwork and he just seemed a little faster and he was like constantly moving around. In the second round, Makdessi dropped him with a straight, I believe, or a jab, and that kind of turned the tide of the fight a little bit.
Hey, real quick,
What's up?
you said Malarkey looked faster and he had good footwork. I would make an argument.
At first,
but I would make an argument that he looked faster because of his footwork. Because I feel like Makdessi was the faster fighter, and it showed once Malarkey got dropped, and the footwork kind of like he started to. He wasn't as active as far as the footwork and the movement, and then you can really see the hand speed.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that a little bit, but like in the first round, when he was fresh, when both guys were fresher, he was more active and moving around more. But once he got dropped in the second round, it took a lot of steam off his punches, I feel like, and he wasn't as active and he wasn't moving around as much. He definitely got his face busted up. I would say he won the first round, Makdessi won the second round. In the third round, I gave it to Makdessi, and I thought that Makdessi could have won the fight, or probably should have won the fight.
Yeah,
it wasn't a robbery, and it wasn't like nothing for me to complain about too much, nothing like that, But I can definitely see how Makdessi could have won that fight though, because if you're just going off of damage alone, he definitely did more damage. If you want to go over, see octagon control, maybe Malarkey kind of controlled the octagon a little bit more because Makdessi kind of had like a plodding kind of pacing style, or he wasn't as active, but he had more power too, So,
yeah, I feel like the reach definitely helped Malarkey out a lot because you see Makdessi had to start all of his attacks with kicks. He was throwing like little taekwondo kicks, side kicks, teep kicks, spinning heel kicks. I think he goes to the well with that spinning back fist a little too much. I think he spins too much, period, to be honest with you. But both fighters were bloodied up. It was one of those fights where in the beginning it's like, oh man, Malarkey, he doing his thing. He definitely won that round. Like, I don't see Makdessi winning this fight. And then the second round, I say the first quarter of the second round, Malarkey continued his pace and pressure from the first round, but then when he got dropped, he ran into that jab. That definitely changed the tides of the second round. So I feel like Makdessi, and then he hit him with that spinning back fist that shattered his nose and got caught with the flying knee. Second round was really exciting, but I feel like Makdessi definitely won the second round. And then the third round, that was one of those rounds where both guys knew the fight was on the line. So it's like nobody wanted to get too reckless. But at the same time, they were both trying to answer back to each other's shots. The third round, I feel like, was extremely hard to judge. So I wouldn't have argued with either result. I felt like he could have went either way. Makdessi definitely felt like he got robbed. You can tell by the look on his face. But I feel like if you go back and watch it, he'll feel like it was a little closer than he thought it was. But yeah, that was a good fight, and that was the second fight in a row where both fighters walked out of the octagon bloody and damaged. So starting to get into these wars here. Oh boy. Next fight, featherweight bout. Cheppy, Machine Gun, Matoscal versus Jack Jenkins. What did you think about this? I didn't even know Jack Jenkins was CKB either.
Man, this fight was it was a pretty entertaining fight. I thought that Chepe would kind of take control more and have more of an advantage on the stand up. It was pretty competitive in the first round. And then in the second round, you can tell like Chepe just kept moving forward, man. And he got the little God of War stripe the red stripe in his hair too. I love that. But he ended up, I believe, clinching up with Jack Jenkins, and then he went for like a judo throw. And when Jack Jenkins tried to post with his right hand, his elbow basically just kind of snapped or whatever, dislocated, and the fight was called off. And Chepe, he was just there. I told you, it's my judo. It's my judo. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it wasn't really a lot to break down in this fight. I will say Jack Jenkins got some strong, heavy kicks. Man, he hit him with one body kick that had the whole side of his body red. And I feel like Matoscal was going to try to just go to war with him and outstrike him. And then he realized, like, man, this guy, I think he probably realized he was a little better on the feet than he thought he was, probably a little more powerful than he thought he was. So we went to the grapple game, had him grappled up against the cage. Tried to do the judo throw, and like you said, when he tried to post on the ground, he dislocated his elbow, and that was nasty. I mean, when the elbow bend the way that it's not supposed to all the way, fight is over. So that was pretty much that. Hopefully he healed up. Hopefully it wasn't nothing too bad. They can just pop it back in, and he could rehab on that end.
Not to sound graphic, but because it didn't actually come out of this game, that is good for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Kind of like Jamal Hill versus Paul Craig.
Yeah.
We thought it was broken, but it was just dislocated.
Yeah. How much of this injury you think can be attributed to Chepe's like judo prowess?
I feel like it's simple. I mean, at the end of the day, you can try to minimize what he did by saying that, when you post, you're not supposed to lock your elbows. Shout out to Laura Sanko, too. She was on the money with everything that she was saying. DC thought it was the shoulder, but she called it, she was like, oh, it was the post. Like, you're not supposed to lock your elbow. You're supposed to kind of keep it bent. And when you lock it, that happens. I mean, you saw what happened to Joe Pyfer in the Contender Series. So I would say it was a mental error by Jack Jenkins, but at the same time, Matoscal, he executed the throw, so you can't take that away from him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely becoming more and more of a fan of him.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they match him up next. I feel like probably one or two more fights, and he'll be looking at the top 15.
Yeah.
All right, and so we move on to our featured bout in the prelims. Our featured prelim, we have Carlos Blackjack Olberg versus Dawoon Zhang, light heavyweight bout.
I feel like they're trying to prop up Olberg to be like, one of the next big, New Zealand or Aussie fighters.
Definitely, and the fact that he in the light heavyweight division helps him.
Yeah, because they gave him the main event on the prelim.
He hasn't had a fight that wasn't on the pay-per-view, and this was his fifth UFC fight. Yeah, because
his first fight he lost against Jenkins, and then he won his next four, I believe. But this fight was pretty cool. He definitely seemed like he had the advantage on the feet. I never really seen or don't remember any of his takedown defense or any of his ground game. He was definitely cracking Dawoon Zhang, and he dropped him too. He probably could have finished the fight, or I thought he was going to finish the fight. I believe it was in the first or second round when he dropped him.
First.
Well, he kind of has like another kind of plotting style where he don't rush in, and I thought that he was getting tired too because he started opening up his mouth and breathing. I ain't gonna say breathing real heavy, but he was taking like deep breaths, like towards the later part of the fight. But he ended up getting a submission, and at first he got him in a rear naked choke, and the round ended, and we thought that his opponent survived. But when they showed the replay, we seen that he tapped with 11 seconds left. And shout out to the UFC truck for pointing that out because we wouldn't have known, and it would have been considered a decision victory for him. But Instead, it's his second submission victory of his career. It was pretty impressive because, like I said before, I didn't know he had a ground game, or I didn't even know he had a submission game at all. So I'm pretty impressed with him. He called out Dominic Reyes too. I thought that was a pretty good call out because I'm pretty sure Reyes is still ranked in the top 15, and he's somebody that's like a former champion. He is coming off 3 losses, but I feel like it'll be a decent matchup, and they should do it.
Man, I don't want to see Dominic Reyes. I feel like it's kind of scary watching him fight now because he gets knocked out viciously.
Well, if he got another fight on his contract, give him to Carlos Olberg.
Who knocked him out last time? Ryan Spann, right?
Yep.
And then before that, it was
But the thing is, Ryan Spann caught him with like a jab, and he just dropped.
That's what I'm saying. Turned his lights off.
And then before that, it was Jan Blachowicz, and then before that it was Yuri Prochazka, and then it started with Jan Blachowicz though.
Yeah, you're right. So all 3 very powerful punches, by the way. So I mean, but as far as this fight goes, Carlos Olberg, he had that kickboxing bladed kind of like borderline taekwondo stance. He's pretty much in and out. I like the fact that he kept it at range. Like if you look at the distance between both fighters, he was like way far in range. He kept that jab out there, kind of like prodding. Even when he wasn't throwing it, the hand was just out there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like measuring his distance. And then he would blitz in for his attacks and then get back outside. And for me, Dawoon Jung, he just didn't do enough offensively. He didn't have that much output. I feel like he just followed Carlos Olberg around and got picked apart. I mean, he threw a few leg kicks. I would have liked to see him try to mix in some grappling. Ironically, he the one that got submitted, but I don't know. I just felt like he wasn't really. I would like to see more effort, and I feel like it kind of takes away from Olberg's victory. But with that being said, it's a little better that he got the submission, because if he would have just cruised to a decision with that, then it would have been like, you should have finished him.
It would have been unimpressive.
Right. So that was pretty cool. Apparently, Olberg came in with a real bad injury to his leg. They disclosed that after the fight. I do feel like he probably would have some cardio issues. I've seen his cardio fail him before, and the fact that Dawoon Jung didn't really force him to think about much or force him to put out too much output, and he still looked sort of gassed. I mean, in 15 minutes is a long time to fight, though. So I mean, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens with him moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know how far he can go in the heavyweight division, because, like you said, even though this was impressive for him to get the submission, his opponent didn't really offer up much, resistance, in my opinion, like you said. So
I do feel like Reyes is a good call out for him in the sense of where he's not trying to get fast tracked.
Exactly.
Because I mean, I feel like he's not ready for the top 10 yet.
Nope.
So moving right along, first fight of the pay-per-view main card. We have Tyson Pedro versus Anton the Pleasure Man Turkalj.
Hey, that's one of the best nicknames in MMA, man. The Pleasure Man.
It's annoying to me.
I was interested to see how he would perform in this fight, because his last fight he took on short notice against Jailton Almeida, which is a heavyweight fight, and Jailton Almeida isn't just a heavyweight; he's a real good heavyweight, an upper echelon of the division.
He submitted everybody so far, right? Everybody he fought.
Yeah. So I didn't hold that loss against him at all. So he was coming in with a clean slate.
Hey, real quick, I'll probably never remember to say this to you again, so I'm gonna say it now. There's this lady that trains with Jailton Almeida. She was just on the Contender. She's a submission specialist, and she holds submission victories over Karine Silva.
What?
And I forgot who else, but in the amateurs, and she just got a contract on Contender Series, so look out for her. I'll get back to you with her name like later, but just remember I told you that.
All right, I will. Tyson Pedro just basically demolished Anton in this fight. Uh, he dropped him and then he rocked him and then he dropped him again and followed up with some ground and pound. Not too much to say. He destroyed him. Um, I'm interested to see where he's gonna go from here to Tyson Pedro. Uh, he looked pretty good and he looked pretty composed and everything like that. Like to me, I feel like he can go further than Carlos Olberg, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I remember Friday we were questioning like he kind of like at a crossroads in his career. He kind of didn't live up to expectations, but now you see he training with City Kickboxing, and I feel like his strikes were more. He was more measured. His strikes were more accurate, more crisp. And the power has always been there. He made quick work of the Pleasure Man. He made him look like he didn't belong in there with him at all, and I was happy to see that. Knocked him out quick, and I know it felt good for him in his hometown of Sydney, Australia. And after he knocked him out, he did the little celebration, and he said he shouldn't have talked about my wife.
Yeah.
Because when at the press conference they asked Turkalj, why do you call yourself the Pleasure Man? He said you can ask his wife or you can ask him after the fight.
Yeah. So he deserved to get that knockout.
So he got what he deserved. What you think next for Tyson Pedro?
Dustin Jacoby is ranked number 15. I think it'd be a good fight for him. Or Alonzo Menifield is 14.
Oh man, both of those sound good.
So I think either one of those fights should be next to Tyson Pedro.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think I have anything better than that. They should make you matchmaker for a day.
It should, man. I've thrown some amazing cards.
Next up, by the way, Turkalj is 1-2 now in the UFC after winning his Contender Series fight. So if you want to count that, he's 2-2.
Okay.
Next up, heavyweight bout. Justin Badman Taffa in a rematch against Austin Lane. The original match was in Austin Lane's hometown of Jacksonville. Former Jaguars first round pick. That fight ended in 29 seconds via eye poke. Austin Lane poked Justin Taffa in the eye, stopped the fight. It was actually a bloody eye poke. It was one of the worst ones I've seen, aside from Jeremy Stevens, Yair Rodriguez. So here we have the rematch in Justin Taffa's backyard.
Huh. We both picked Taffa to knock him out. I'm pretty sure, and knockout he did because man he caught him with like a nasty. I believe it was a left hook. They just dropped him, and then it was some of the nastiest ground and pounds. Because his ground and pounds are just so vicious, and they were just coming so fast. And then Austin Lane tried to get up, and he tried to refuse the help of the officials, but clearly he needed it because he was wobbly, and he tried to get up and he just fell back down, and he had to help him up on his stool or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty impressive. Justin Taffa, he becoming one of my favorite heavyweights, and I also like that he got a younger brother, Junior Taffa, in the same division, and they both knockout artists. So I was pretty happy with that.
Hey, they're the first brothers in the UFC to knock out the same guy in Parker Porter.
Yeah.
And this fight started. Good morning, Jay the Creator. Hell of a night last night, huh? But yeah, this fight started off, and as soon as it started off, eye poke. Justin Lane, Austin. I don't know why I keep calling him Justin Lane, but Austin Lane, eye poke Justin Taffa from the start, and it's like, oh man, not again. But yeah, he got the knockout in devastating fashion. He almost tried to Mark Hunt him and get a walk off, But then he decided to drop down and deliver some of the nastiest.
And why is that, bro?
Huh?
And why did he decide to not do the walk-off? Because of his last knockout.
Yeah, his last knock. What happened with that?
His last knockout. Parker Porter.
He wanted a fight bonus.
Yeah, not just that. Remember, he knocked him out, and he tried to get a walk-off, so he walked off, and then Parker Porter was still around, so the referee let him continue, and then he went and hit him with 2 or 3 more shots and completely knocked him out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really remember that, but I know he got the bonus for knockout of the night, a performance bonus they call it now. That ground and pound, I feel like he was literally trying to drive his head to the bottom of the mat. Like it was really vicious. It was almost. It kind of reminded me of remember when RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez.
Yeah.
His last fight where he was elbowing.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the opponent was, but it reminded me of that. But it was just like more of them though. I wanted to stop the fight. So that was pretty much that. It was a real quick fight. It was like 1 minute and 22 in, so wasn't really much to break down. And so this fight card started moving along kind of quick because we started having a lot of finish. It was a lot of finishes last night. And then after that heavyweight bout, we came up to the fight of the night.
Outlaw 77 said.
Huh?
Outlaw 77 said, yeah, he tried to walk off.
Yeah, he did. He thought better of it though. Hey, how far do you think Justin Taffa can go? Did you see anything that says anything different from what we said Friday?
He like a reincarnation of Mark Hunt, kind of, So it's like if he fought, you can give him a Sergey Pavlovich or give him, I don't really know, but I'm a huge fan of him. I will probably let me see who the top 15 people are.
I feel like all the heavyweights from that region are the same.
Yeah, they are kind of. You can give him Marcos Rogerio de Lima whenever he get his teeth back.
I say give him Derek Lewis.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad fight at all. Derek Lewis ranked number 10. Or you can give him even Jairzinho would be a good fight.
Yeah, I would give him Jairzinho first and then give him Derek Lewis, actually. Let him climb up.
Yeah.
But back to this flyweight fight. The flyweight division, which I must say has definitely made improvements over the past couple of years. It actually became like a pretty exciting division. You had Manel Starboy Kape versus Felipe dos Santos making his UFC debut.
Hey, bro, I told you.
One of these fights where I'll be the first to admit it, I was dead wrong. I thought Manel Kape was going to walk through Dos Santos. I felt like this guy's 22 years old. He's only 7-0, 8-0, something like that. First fight in the UFC, fighting the number 10 ranked flyweight in the world, who's been in there with the champion at that division and was a champion and rising before he came to the UFC. So I thought this was just going to be a mismatch. And shout out to the kid for taking the fight on short notice, but I thought it was going to get done in.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, Felipe dos Santos. Like I haven't even seen his fight, but just from looking at the embedded series and the countdown, and just looking at the way he carried himself, I'm like, damn, like this kid is something special. There's something special about this kid, just the way he carried himself.
JD Creator said the tension was in the air bad last night. I agree. It's like after the first fight in the main card, I was like, oh man, like this. Imagine what it felt like being there.
Yeah. Manel Kape, I would say that he kind of underestimated Felipe dos Santos, and he thought he could walk through him too. And you can tell that he definitely earned his respect after the fight. Like they definitely earned each other respect. Felipe dos Santos, he got dropped in the first round. Kind of had me nervous a little bit. He was able to recover. And if this is his first fight in the UFC on the big stage, and he's going to up against the number 10 ranked flyweight in the world. Imagine, what he can do from here. So I'm real interested to see what he's gonna do. I'm a fan of him. I'm gonna hop on this bandwagon, and I'm not saying he's gonna be champion, but I definitely see him hitting like the top 15 eventually. Give him some time. I just hope that they build him up too, though. Like just because he fought Manil Kate, that don't mean give him the number 15 guy next time. Like
Right.
still build a kid up. Today is his 23rd birthday. Shout out to him. Happy birthday to you. And I'm a fan of him.
Man, these guys come in UFC ready is crazy. This fight was
Wait,
extremely entertaining. He got dropped in the first round and in the second, and I think in the third too. But he got a hell of a chin. Extremely durable kid. And his output is insane. He didn't get he didn't get tired. He kept throwing, and usually, even if your gas tank is good, once you get rocked, you tend to fade a little bit. But you didn't see none of that. At one point, when he got dropped, Manel Kape jumped down and tried to finish him with ground and pound, but then it shows the way he strikes and even the way he grapples. You can tell he trained with Oliveira. You get what I'm saying?
yep.
So he almost got a sweep, and Manel Kape just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna get up and get this back on the feet. One thing I will say is, anytime they had those exchanges, which there were plenty of them, like those long exchanges where they throwing like 7-8 punches each back to back to back to back, it was always on the Manel Kape's terms. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would always initiate them and then back out when he was ready to back out. But he got his mouthpiece knocked loose a couple of times. Like literally had to put it back in his mouth. And one thing that I did notice about him too, I think the biggest difference was the experience and the power, because he's obviously like filled out as an adult, and whereas this kid's still 22, you can tell he's gonna fill out a little bit more. It was one point where Dos Santos had Kape on the ground and he kind of like just big brothered him and got on top. But I feel like the footwork made a major difference. He was kind of doing the same thing I said Makdessi did, where like he would enter in one stance and then switch stances mid combination and then get back out. He was pretty elusive, but man, this is a hell of a fight. It definitely deserved fight of the night. And I don't know. I feel like they gonna go ahead and book that fight with Manel Kape and Kai France. And I feel like he did definitely underestimate him, but he earned his respect by the end of the fight. Jay the Creator said that Stylebender did not look himself at all. Dominated. We're gonna touch on that in a few.
Yeah.
But I do want to respond to that though, because I don't know. I feel like I saw it a little different. But the heavyweight fight, co-main event, which I was not excited about at all, absolutely over-delivered. We had Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa versus Drago Alexander Volkov.
Yeah, this fight, I wanted to pick up my heart and pick Bam Bam, but I just felt like Drago would be too much for him, and he would use his jab and use his reach and everything. And Bam Bam, he's a brawler, and like my brother said, he's not an MMA fighter or mixed martial artist. He's a fighter, basically, So he's just gonna come in there headhunt, looking for your chin. This was a very entertaining fight. Tuivasa did make it pretty competitive. He was eating at that leg, which I love. Man, he was tagging that leg up real good. Because when you're such a shorter fighter, you got to do something to get inside. He didn't really catch Drago with any bombs or really too many haymakers. Drago was pretty much able to stay out of range for the most part. And then he ended up taking him down and getting him in Ezekiel choke, which you don't really see too much. I think it's only the third time in history. Alexei Olenek is
not the third time, but he's the third fighter. Shout out to Alexei Olenek though.
Yeah, Olenek is basically like the godfather of it. Tuivasa, I'm not really sure where he goes from here. I would like for him to join City Kickboxing, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know why he hasn't done that yet,
Yeah, he moved to Abu Dhabi to try to get some training done. I don't know who was out there that he was training with because it's not like he was grappling.
I'm hearing that, but it's like, yeah, so I'm thinking too, like, who's in Abu Dhabi that he's training with, you know? And like you say, his grappling hasn't. I mean, his grappling wasn't atrocious last night, you know. Yeah, it has gotten better, but
defensively anyway.
For him to be a complete heavyweight and compete for the title or get the belt, he got to kind of evolve a little bit more. I'm not sure how much evolution he got left in his game, if he has any, you know. I'm a huge fan of him, though, and I want to see where he go from here. But Volkov, he got the victory. He already fought Gunn. He fought Aspinall. He fought Curtis Blades. I don't know where he go from here. Maybe he fought Rosenstrike already, so maybe he already fought Derek Lewis. I don't know. Maybe Sergey Spivak. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting to see too. As far as Tuivasa goes, yeah, Jada Creator say Volkov 6'7". Believe it or not, him and my 15-year-old are the same height. That's crazy. Insane. Crazy. So yeah, I feel like Tuivasa, he just kept loading up with the power shots. I feel like he should, if he took it, I mean, who am I to question how serious he take the sport? But I feel like he just liked the fight. You don't really look at it as a sport or as a job. You just feel, I get paid to fight. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if it's aspiration, if he have title aspirations or what, but I feel like he need to at least like incorporate some jabs, try to work his way inside. All he do is just duck his head and try to go for overhands. Volkov, even though he won the fight, I will say that he I feel like he don't use his range as good as he could, because Tuivasa definitely was able to get inside of it quite a few times. He was just missing with those overhands and those hooks and those uppercuts. Speaking of uppercuts, Volkov landed a couple mean uppercuts that kind of like stunned Tuivasa. I'm not sure if his nose was broken or what, but it did look bad. And I feel like one reason why Tuivasa gassed out is because he was putting everything into every shot. Those leg kicks were vicious. I feel like if he could have kept it standing, really after the first round when he went back to his corner, he looked dejected. He looked like he was he was already looking down, like, oh man, I'm losing this fight. But then when they pointed out to him how bad those leg kicks were hurting him, like, oh yeah, he just told the corner, my leg is done. My leg is done. That kind of got him back into the fight. And I feel like Volkov couldn't have took those for another round and a half. When he got it to the ground, I feel like that was his saving grace. The first time he got it to the ground, Tuivasa actually was able to get to a hip, frame up, and
impressive.
Yeah, get back to his feet. That's why I was saying his ground game definitely improved. But I would like to see him go to city kickboxing too and kind of like work on some technique, because he got the power to put anybody away. If he can just keep his if he can keep improving his defensive grappling. Even when Derek Lewis had him on the ground, like, he got back up from that too. You get what I'm saying? So if he can keep improving his defensive grappling, because I never expect him to really be a grappler. That's just not who he is as a fighter. But if he can improve that and be a little more technical on the feet, then I would say the sky will be the limit for him.
Yeah, I agree.
Thinking Black said, yeah, Tui was a lot more dejected than he should have been at that point. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because at that point it was only one round, and it's not like you was getting pieced up, but you were doing damage to the leg, and like you said, I feel like that's why his corner, said that to him to kind of get some confidence in him.
Yeah, I don't think he realized how much he damaged that leg.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh damn, I am doing damage to that leg, so maybe I should go back to it."
It made him realize I could still end this fight, and it don't have to be a headshot.
Right.
So
there are other methods of victory besides just the walk-off KO.
So last but definitely not least, we have the main event of the evening. Sean Strickland versus the last style bender, Israel Adesanya, for the UFC middleweight undisputed championship. And I just want to say, where in the hell is MMA betting mastermind? Hey, Jay the Creator said this doesn't have nothing to do with anything, but did y'all see Aljo with the rematch request on the phone when the camera
Yeah,
was on him?
yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, so basically, all right, so they were doing a shot of all the UFC fighters in the crowd, right?
Mhm.
And then they panned to Aljo, and he had like you could tell he was waiting for it because he put out his phone, and his phone said rematch sugar or sugar, where's my rematch or something like that, and it had like a bunch of money signs on it. You feel me?
Nah, I ain't see that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Because
Hey,
I honestly, now that he mentioned it, randomly, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm thinking like, okay, O'Malley just won the belt, and he's calling out Cheeto, who just lost to Sanhagen, and then had a victory. But then you got Marab, who won like 8 or 9 straight, who really deserved a title shot. You know, so it's like really before Cheeto get the belt, there's 2 people that deserve the belt before him. Honestly,
he said Sugar replied with his phone and said no. Hey, it's funny because hey, Jay the Creator, what do you think? You think they should give him a rematch, or you think they should move on, or you think he should move up to? Because even if you win the rematch, he gonna win the rematch and move up unless they do a trilogy. But if they do a trilogy, that's gonna hold up the division. So I would like to know what you think. Trevor said, "What's with the parody lately? Unbeatable champions getting smashed. That's because nobody is unbeatable, and that's why." He said, "Jay the Creator said, move on, move on." So you
I
said
agree.
move on. Who you think should be next? Because me personally, I think it should be Marab. If but Cheeto makes sense. Sanhagen makes sense, but Sanhagen out with injury, so
Okay,
that's
but
that's
look.
a logjam division right there.
Hey, bro,
But
you know this. You know what this remind me of. Remember when Bisping got his belt?
yeah,
The rightful contender, it definitely wasn't Dan Henderson, but Dan Henderson got that belt because that's who the champion wanted to fight. The same thing with Yoel Romero.
and because they
But
had history.
yeah, and same thing with Yoel Romero and Adesanya. Yoel Romero wasn't the #1 contender for that belt. Only reason they made that fight was because Adesanya, as the champion, called him out. So
And not
I
just that,
do,
but nobody calls out Yoel Romero, and it was on paper one of the hardest fights for him. You're gonna fight this Cuban Olympic wrestler, you're a striker,
yeah,
and I feel like at that point Adesanya was pretty much running through everybody. So I mean,
yeah.
but
But
I would also say back to what Trevor was asking, that's one reason why I love this sport, because it's like on paper something could look one way, and just like I said on Friday, I was saying that even when it's a fight that you feel like we all know what's gonna happen, you gotta watch it because that may not happen and you don't want to miss that. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like this is the biggest upset in UFC history, in my humble opinion. I feel like it's bigger than GSP Matt Serra. I feel like it's bigger than Weidman versus Silva. I feel like it's bigger than Shevchenko Grasso. I feel like it's bigger than Pena versus Nunes one, because
yeah,
Pena versus Nunes one. I went into that fight fully expecting Nunes to lose that fight.
right. You did call it.
R.I.P. Woodley. What you mean?
I think it's about his career, his UFC career.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so yeah, I went into that first Amanda Nunes fight fully expecting her to lose, and I put my money where my mouth was, and it paid off. Friday, I was saying that I wanted to put money on this so bad and put money on Strickland because I just had that feeling, but then I was like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. And I said it on the last show. If you go back and you listen, I said, watch, I'm gonna not put money on it, and this is what's gonna happen. And what happened. So go ahead and tell me what you think about this fight.
Um, I still, I still don't know. Like, I don't know because all right, in the first round, we both said that Strickland looked kind of nervous coming out to the octagon. We also said that about O'Malley last fight too.
And
It looked
O'Malley
like,
confirmed what we said. He said I was
yeah,
nervous as hell.
yeah, and Strickland confirmed it too because he said that, yeah, of course I was nervous a little bit,
And keep in mind, this is first time fighting in front of a crowd. And how long?
His past 8 of his past 9 fights have been at the Apex.
Yeah, and then the one that wasn't in the Apex, he got knocked out by Pereira.
Yeah.
And now he's in this guy's hometown too, in his backyard. So
basically, when the fight started, Adesanya, doing his Adesanya thing, trying to keep a distance and whatever. But at some point, Strickland caught him and dropped him. And not only did he drop him, he like down there spinning him around, And I thought for a second, I thought the fight was over, man. Like in the first round. And he followed up with some ground and pound, and Izzy got up against the cage, and he was still hitting him with some shots up against the cage and everything. Izzy was able to recover, and he just never really found his groove, man. Like he would have his moments here and there, but I would argue to say that he didn't even win a round. If at most he won 1 round at most.
Yeah, I gave him the second round.
But Strickland with his style, his weird, he got a weird stance too. His style, he was just pressuring Adesanya so much, and I guess his pressure, it just didn't give Adesanya any space to do anything.
Exactly.
And just because he just kept going for it. Not like a Nate Diaz. He don't have the same style as Nate Diaz, but the same concept of I'm gonna just keep pressuring you forward and not give you space to do anything.
Jay Creator say, I feel like Stylebender accomplished what he really wanted to last fight.
Yeah, that's another thing too. The last fight, it was such a big up for him, and he defeated his big villain, like Spider-Man defeating Venom or something like that. And then for this fight, he originally planned on fighting Jenkins du Plessis, who he had a lot of heat against. And then in came Sean Strickland, like this guy who is considered a boring fighter. He should run through. He got no heat against him. He underestimated him. And he said he wasn't underestimating him, but I feel like he underestimated him, And even in the 5th round, when Izzy knew he had to knock him out, he didn't go for broke the way I thought he should have, He was still kind of dancing around the ring a little bit and moving around the octagon and everything like that. And I'm real disappointed in Izzy, but at the same time, I am happy for Strickland because, he definitely deserved it. And keep in mind, he had a motorcycle accident a few years ago, and at one point we thought his career was going to be done too,
And Jay Creator said he wasn't talking as much after. He wasn't talking as much, and he didn't even stick around after. I'm gonna touch on that too.
Yeah, his post fight, he just gave like a quick little speech, and then gave the rest of his coaching, and then left. And even towards the end of the 5th round, like the last 30 seconds, bro, Strickland was just talking so much trash to Adesanya, and Adesanya wasn't really doing nothing about it, and it was just like, damn, man, like it's that visual, it's etched in my memory, and I can't get it out of my head because I never thought I would see that. And like Jay said, it just seemed like he wasn't himself at all. I think that's part of it, and I think a part of it too is he underestimated Strickland, and he wasn't up for his fight the way he should have been. Because I feel like if this was Jenkins du Plessis, he would have knocked him out or something like that.
All right, so the way I see this fight is everybody was saying, all right, Sean Strickland came out and pressured Izzy. Sean Strickland said before the fight that I'm gonna do what Kelvin Gastelum did and just put it on him, but he pressured him even more than that. He kind of pressured him and walked him down as if he was Pereira. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How much time in that fight did Izzy spend with his back against the cage or with his feet behind the black line? Most of it. Sean Strickland is extremely good defensively. As you can see, he got the best defense in the division. And I feel like everything Adesanya was throwing, yeah, he bite on all the feints, but everything that he was throwing was getting blocked, was getting parried. The leg kicks was getting checked. And I feel like if he underestimated anything about Sean Strickland, I feel like he underestimated the power, which we all did. Like I didn't think he had the power that he displayed. I mean, I've seen him knock people out and get finishes, but usually his finishes is like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
usually make people wilt and he break them, and and Sean Strickland had a quote. He said that everybody was saying that Izzy was supposed to do this to me, Izzy was supposed to do that to me, blah 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 blah. He said, and I said I was gonna fight him like how Gastelum fought him, and Izzy said I don't have the chin to do that. I might have the cardio, but not the chin. He said, look at the people that Izzy beat, and then when you see us spar, we spar those same guys, like then you would probably have a different opinion of me. He was like, I think because I talk so much, people forget I can actually fight. But Outlaw 77 say at least 85% in the outer perimeter. I think that was a real big key. I feel like that kind of smothered. Oh wait, Jada Creator say keeping it G. Y'all seen y'all. Wait, y'all. We've seen that man dominate people way better than Sean. I mean, yeah, but if you think about it, who has Sean Strickland lost to other than Pereira? And Pereira also beat Izzy. You get what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Style for style, like I would have said, yeah, Izzy was the better fighter. I mean, I feel like if they fight 20 times, Izzy gonna win in like 15. But I don't know. I feel like everybody's saying Izzy wasn't himself. Izzy was slow. Izzy was this, and I just feel like, man, you can't take nothing away from Sean Strickland. You got to get a man his props. He did that, and I feel like also too, I feel like Adesanya came in expecting him to try to incorporate some grappling, and he didn't. And I don't know. I just feel like Strickland was a little bit more harder to hit than Adesanya expected, and I don't think Adesanya expected to be going backwards the entire fight. Being pressured, and even when he connected with stuff and to try to get Sean off of him, Sean just still kept coming forward. It was a couple of times, especially after the first round when he got dropped. I thought the fight was going to be over. Like my heart was beating so fast. I'm glad the referee didn't stop it though. And I heard Izzy say something to him like, I'm okay, I'm good, while he was getting hit. And he recovered pretty fast. He came out in the second round a little more aggressive, and he tried to take the center of the octagon, but eventually ended up getting walked back down again. And I give him that second round, but I feel like that's the only round he won. Sean Strickland, I feel like nobody's expected to wake up Sunday morning and saying that Sean Strickland is the middleweight champ. You get what I'm saying? Myself included. I was just going to put money on it just based off the odds, just because I felt like it's a low risk, high reward. But yeah, I agree with JD Creator. I never saw him underestimate no fighter he fought. That's what I agree. Like Adesanya definitely got that champion mindset, and I never seen him underestimate nobody either. That's why I don't know. I just feel like he could have underestimated the power, but I knew he was in for. I feel like he knew he was in for a fight. He even said it's not going to even be easy. I might just make it look good.
Yeah.
So
hey, to your point about Adesanya having to fight backwards, moving backwards all the time. I think it was DC saying that. Oh, I'm pretty sure Adesanya when he trained, he didn't train fighting backwards, you know. And if you look at his footage, because I've been watching I watched a city kickboxing documentary that they did, and if you look at the footage, they do a lot of training of like them up against the cage. And if you think about it, when he fought Pedro last time in Miami, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you can see them training that technique, but at the same time, I never see them training no technique when he fighting backwards, like you said, you know what I'm saying?
And not just that, but that's how he beat. That's exactly how he beat Pereira. But how did Pereira beat him?
Well, up against the cage.
Exactly. So it's like,
yeah.
So now that we have more information on seeing him fight like that, 2 of the 3 times we saw him fight like that, he lost. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm not going to even say fight like that, but put in that situation for an extended period of time. Because even with that, if you look at that first Pereira fight, the difference in that fight was Adesanya was winning the whole fight. until that sequence when he was up against the cage.
Yep.
And in the second fight, Adesanya was up against the cage early, and he was in trouble, but he got a mean kind of like in close quarters. He got a mean weave, pivot, left hook game. You feel me?
Yeah.
The same one he knocked out Pereira with, the same one he knocked out Robert Whitaker with, but I feel like I don't know. It was crazy. It was definitely crazy. I felt like Sean dominated the fight. I didn't expect to see that. At one point, I feel like the main reason why he lost the second round because he wasn't letting out no output.
That's when his coach said that he being snake charmed.
Yeah, exactly. That was a perfect analogy too.
Yeah, because sometimes you could be in there with Izzy, and like you watching your receipts as Teddy Atlas said, you being snake charmed or whatever. But you can't do that because you got to keep your mind forward and just keep putting forward the pressure,
And his feints frees you up. Like he a mastermind. Like the way he always feinting, like he looking like he finna throw a kick, looking like he finna spin, looking like he finna throw a jab. Like and then he in and out of the way, constantly switching stances. It's like what I notice about him, his stance switches are so smooth that you won't even notice them sometimes. Like he'll throw a kick, like say he's in orthodox, and then he'll throw the kick, and by the time the kick land, he'll put it back to where he's in southpaw.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's real tricky. You don't know where the angle's coming from. The footwork is amazing, but Sean and I like how he didn't follow him when Izzy was circling out. He didn't follow him. He cut him off. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but back to what JD Creator was saying, how he didn't even talk much afterwards. It was crazy in the post-fight press conference. He came out and said, "Yeah, I'm finna go be with my people. Even if I won, I didn't expect to say much, but I'm gonna let my coach talk to y'all." And he left. I'm like, damn, like that was weird, but it's interesting to see what's gonna happen. You think they're gonna do a rematch? Dana said he wouldn't mind doing a rematch.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's tough. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, but it's just gonna hold up the division more. You know how I feel about that. Looking at the significance,
kicking itself right now. I should have been there.
Yeah, I know.
But number one, if he fights Strickland for the belt, it ain't gonna be the money. He ain't gonna get the money that he would have got for Adesanya because that would have been a huge fight. Number two, the fact that Izzy lost the belt, he should have been there to call out Strickland.
Yep.
And do you see Strickland holding on to this belt? Is an even bigger question.
Well, here's my thing. Coming up soon, you got Hamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa. Chimaev is going to run. He's not going to run through Costa. I mean, not say that, but he's going to beat Costa, and then he is going to be like the next dominant champion. I feel like. I don't know how they're exactly going to get there, but I definitely feel like they're going to probably give him 2 more fights and then give him a title shot. So Strickland, he might fight Izzy again. I don't know if I don't think he'll win a rematch because I'm noticing a trend with Izzy. He's the kind of fighter that has to be like motivated, kind of. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he was motivated for this fight. That's why you seen the performance that you seen. Jay, I don't know if you read this one. Jay said, "I feel like he accomplished his main goal, his last fight. Now he's backing out the spotlight, but also won back up against the cage, and he didn't weave nothing Sean was throwing." Yeah, he wasn't really weaving at all. He didn't have that head movement the way he normally do, which was disappointing. And like I feel like having that Pereira fight after that, it was a big letdown coming back and having to fight Strickland because Strickland not his rival, and it's not a rematch or nothing like that, and it wasn't like too much heat on this fight. Everybody expected Adesanya to just walk through him and win. So. But this is definitely one of the biggest, hugest upsets in mixed martial arts history. I think that Adesanya should probably take some time off. They already have a deal with Australia to come back next year. So I think that maybe he should take some time off, take like a year off, and then come back next year in like a year's time. And in the meantime, you can let Sean Strickland fight Dricus du Plessis. And like Jay said, nothing against Sean, but I don't see it. Yeah, because he not like an impressive or flashy kind of fighter. He don't got that kind of like charismatic personality and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But as you can see, he a pretty damn good fighter though. And like I said before, I feel like if they did have a rematch, Izzy would definitely win in the rematch. Yo, what's up, bro? You back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, I was talking about the future plans of the middleweight division, saying that Chimaev was probably gonna be like the next dominant champion, and Izzy should take a year off and just come back for the next Australia card next year.
Hey, one thing I will say, me and the missus was talking about this morning. Izzy has had an insane work schedule. He's been fighting like every 3-4 months. So I do feel like he's earned, and he should take some time off. I wonder if that schedule kind of caught up to him a little bit. And also, we both said the same thing as far as we feel like Chimaev got the potential to be the next dominant champion in that division.
Yeah, I mean it's already it got the makings for it already, kind of.
Because aside from Adesanya, I don't really see anybody else being like that dominant champion right now, except for him.
Yep. I think Strickland should fight Duplessis next.
Yeah, I know everybody chomping at the bit for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Izzy decides to take some time off. I wouldn't be surprised if they make Strickland fight Cannonier again, because Cannonier was the backup fighter.
That is true.
Strickland does feel like he won that fight. A lot of people feel like he won that fight. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this play. Let's see how this thing play out, as Dana White would say.
But I feel like the general consensus, and we all agree, because most of us are Izzy fans, we all agree he should just take some time off though. Because look, after he lost to Perez, me and Ray Longo and everybody was saying he should take some time off, but he came right back and fought him in Miami and got the belt back. And then he came back and fought again and fought Strickland. You know what I'm saying? So his body going through it, bro.
And despite the fact of him losing, I still say Izzy is the greatest middleweight of all time. Right up there with Anderson Silva, but I feel like Izzy in his prime was more entertaining than Silva in his prime, in my opinion.
Ooh.
I feel like that's something that you'll never know for sure. This is opinion based. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a big debate though.
Because I feel like the fact that for a lot of his career, Silva didn't really speak English.
Yeah,
it like made him a little less like relatable. Therefore, he wasn't as entertaining, because Izzy entertains from the walkouts to the interviews to the fights.
Yeah.
So I feel like they got similar styles, but I feel like Silva was more well-rounded, but Izzy is a little more entertaining.
I think Trevor is questioning me. He said a year. Yeah, Izzy need to take a year off because he been fighting so much back to back. And even though
they say he's main evented 43% of the UFC's pay-per-views in the past 4 years.
Look at that. They're running my man into the ground. But the average fighter may fight once a year, twice a year. And to us, we may see, they only fighting twice a year. But those each fight come like an 8 to 12 week training camp of you having to diet, put your body through sparring, and do all this kind of stuff and weight cuts, And even when I seen Izzy, it was Saturday there. No, I believe it was Friday night there. 2 days before the fight, he looked real drained. You know what I'm saying? In his eyes or whatever. But I thought that was just just a normal weight cut or whatever. But I don't know if that had anything to do with the fight. It was just an observation. Jay said, I feel like a lot of middleweights are excited and ready to come out. For sure, a lot of middleweight are dogs and ready to take that belt. I agree.
Yeah, 100%. That's That's what's so exciting about it. You get what I'm saying? Like just like that, it's like somebody took all the middleweights, turned them into dice, put them in the cup, shook them up, and threw them on the table. You feel me?
Yep.
Because now it's like the division is wide open, and Izzy is the first ever two-time UFC middleweight champ. I wouldn't be surprised if he make it a three-time, but I feel like not only has he earned and he deserves, I feel like he might need some time off. Just like how Aljo fought, like, I mean, Izzy usually fight 4 times a year. And just like how Aljo, he defended that belt like a lot. He fought Dillashaw. He fought Dillashaw, turned right around, fought Cejudo. And before that fight, before he could make it out of the octagon, they already had his next fight booked in 3 months. So, I mean, like, I feel like he's definitely going to take some time off. He even said it, which further kills his case for a rematch because O'Malley trying to get right back in there. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how everything play out.
Yeah, I agree. Trevor said, hell no, he entertained with those hands. And Dre said it's a very big debate. And we know when you are ready. Get your PowerPoint together and let's debate it. I think they try to have a debate over that. I see.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, we can have the conversation. I'm not really the debate kind of guy because, like, I see things how I see things. I don't care to make you agree with me or not, and unless it's something that, like, it's like, I feel like that's an extremely debatable point. You get what I'm saying? We can have a conversation though, but I mean, if you don't see it that way, you don't see it that way. But I don't think you can change my opinion from not seeing it that way. So, however you want to do it, we can do it. But anything else you want to add on this card?
I mean, I'm not a big Strickland fan, but I don't dislike him. Like, I'm happy for him. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I
you
am
heard what
happy
he said.
for him. The belt don't mean shit to me. He threw the belt on the ground.
Nah, he said, I would like to thank my dad for all the abuse that I received as a kid, because the abuse that I received as a kid prepared me for this moment right now. And he was like, guys, I don't care who I fight next. He was like, you gotta understand, like, this belt was like never my goal. He said, I don't do this I don't do this for the belt. He said, this is my hobby. Sparring is my hobby. Training is my hobby. So I do this to finance my hobby.
Yep.
Which is when they say he sparred 15, 20 rounds every day.
Yep. And, bro, when you sparring that much, you know, that's like the opposite of what Matt Holloway believes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you're sparring that much, like, that has to translate to a certain extent, you know? But we don't know if he's doing, like, hard sparring or if he, you know, getting knocked out or, you know what I'm saying?
He go hard. They said coaches have to stop him, like, hey, all right, step in, that's enough. And another thing I will say is, like, I'm not taking a shot at the WWE, so all y'all wrestling fans, get off me now. Don't take it personal. But in my opinion, the best storylines are the ones that you don't have to create. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The best storylines create themselves, just like how the Dricus and Adesanya thing played out. And now, who would have ever predicted this underdog story? You get what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
you sound like I touched the nerve with you on that one. You're like, yeah.
No, I mean, I'm still not in shock, but I'm still in disbelief that Adesanya lost the belt the way he did. You know.
To who he did.
Yeah, to who he did. Yeah. But I feel like they should definitely, like I said before, do the Dricus and Strickland fight next. And Trevor said style bender. Jay said style bender for president, and Trevor said that's easy when it's non-scripted. Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up, I agree. Style bender for president.
Hey, bro. So next week we got UFC Noche, headlined by the women's belt, the women's bout between Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso.
Flyweight championship. Alexa Grasso shocked the world her last time. This will be the equivalent of Adesanya getting his rematch in the female division. Valentina getting her rematch. Two of the biggest upsets of the year. one in the men's division, one in the women's division. That's actually a free fight. UFC Noche, ESPN Plus. Check it out. We're gonna be doing a review show Friday at 7:30. Friday at 7:30. Right here on this channel. And then be sure to tune in to Man Talk Mondays every Monday at 6:05. The topics are off the chain. Jay
going down.
I think you would really enjoy that show. If you ain't got nothing going on Sunday at 6:05, jump back into this channel. Monday, my bad, 6:05. Jump back on this channel, subscribe, like, and also tonight, immediately following the Dolphins game, right back here on this channel for a recap. If you want to come on and put some input on about your team and how your team did, I know Bones gonna be on here to holler about the Bucks.
Let's go, Bucks!
We might have a Cowboy fan sighting. That's what I hear, but you know how that goes. I don't know. I might come on and talk about how dominant our defense was against the 49ers. I know we got a Falcons fan in the building. I know we got a Bills fan in the building. So, I mean, stop by. It should be a little fun.
Man, I woke up this morning with a big smile on my face because it was football Sunday.
Man, I woke up this morning and first thing I thought was, damn, Sean Strickland is the middleweight champ. And then I was like, oh, snap, we got football Sunday. And then, never mind.
Hey, Trevor said he ain't coming on. I think he's talking about the Cowboy fan. Or I'm not sure if we're talking about the Cowboy fan or the Buffalo fan. Either.
No, he could be talking about the Cowboy fan.
Okay. Nini said, great show, you guys. Thanks, I appreciate it. And Jay, I see you in the building. I appreciate you for tuning in.
All right, guys. Peace.
Enjoy your football Sunday. Go Bucks!
Go Steelers. Go Chargers.
Let's go Baker Mayfield.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and the best is blessed, baby.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Keep it clean. Touch gloves if you wish. Let's do it.
Straight Talk MMA, hosted by Zay, Bonez, and Trevor.